Yeah. You knew I was going to do one, right? Okay. Yeah, it's the terrible trio, Nick, JHK, and Drake. We are here, post fight podcast on a Tuesday morning in Asia. I think it's Monday night for Drake, but it's back. SCMP live. Here we are. I'm in Times Square, Hong Kong. We're going to be talking today about a few things. We're going to preview Rizin 30, which is coming up this weekend, and also One Championship have released their updated rankings, which are interesting to say the least. But first of all, Drake, how was your incredible weekend away at the beach? I know you took a little break there. Sounded like it was a little bit of fun. Are you feeling refreshed, ready to take on this week?
Yes, I am. It's always good to, get away a little bit from the intensity of the MMA calendar and what it can be. And what a perfect way with 3 big events as JHK is in the nightclub now.
Yeah.
But, it was good. It was nice. Hadn't been to that beach before. Nice little town, and had all the boys there. It was like a mini reunion in this big, nice house that I got. And I showed you only the upstairs, right, Nick? I don't know if I sent you a video of the bottom, but it was big. It was very big.
Saw some videos. That's what she said. Yeah, John, what the hell is going on there behind you?
I'm getting the mood right, man. Like, we gotta get going. Like, we gotta hit the ground running. Like, we're
epilepsy warning on this show or something.
Well, this is the disco. I'm taking it back to '83.
What happened to Bruce Lee? Where's Bruce gone? Bruce? I thought you had Bruce behind you.
I did have Bruce, but Bruce is still right here on this side. I just have to switch things up. I'm working on making the studio more YouTube friendly. So I think, like, if you look right now, it's kind of like a YouTube vibe, right? Like, if you look at it, like there's a backlight. It's kind of colored a little bit, and I actually have a new camera, but I just haven't hooked it up yet. But that will make it a little bit more clear. So I'm getting all a little professional, like they say in Chile.
Well, I'm using the ring light today as well.
Oh, I have a ring light too over here.
Nice. What are you doing, Drake?
I'm sitting down because I have options for standing and sitting. Okay. I changed my studio a month or so ago now. I have a little ring light.
Competition.
Hey, we're all talking about it. So yeah, just chilling.
Well, Nick actually has a studio.
Yes,
that's
a level. Real studio.
That's
don't do yourselves down. You both have studii. I just have access to South China Morning Post, and they're millions of Hong Kong dollars. And the professional podcast studio. To be honest, this place kind of sucks anyway, because I can hear people talking next door. I can hear them talking that way. It's really not actually soundproof very well. So you guys are better off than me, I think. And the mic keeps falling down. Anyway, all this talk. Let's get into it, though, guys. Come on. What do we want to start? I want to start with his rankings because they came out.
No. Let's start with Conor McGregor, dude. Like, let's get that out of the way.
I don't want to talk about Conor McGregor.
No, but it's funny to me though. Like, it's so hilarious. Like, did you see the new things that have come up? The new, what is it? What do you call it? Like, what do those news people call it when it's like new? What is something new that comes up in a case, and then the news comes out. And they're like, not evidence, but like. It's kind of like evidence, but I didn't read it. I'm just reading headlines, but I just saw something about Conor McGregor was in Megan Fox's DMs, and that's why that altercation happened. I'm like, what? For real?
I don't think that's true.
I just read the headline though, but I think that's a great headline. I think that's so funny. Like, Conor McGregor, since he can't fight for belts, he's fighting for girls now. It's like, what's going on with this world? Like, wasn't his wife there? I think his wife was there too, right? Yeah. Is that his wife or his girlfriend, or whatever she is, the mother of his children? If he's out there fighting like Machine Gun Kelly, who's wearing like cum stains on his face for the VMAs, I don't know what the hell was on his face. Like, what was that white stuff? Like, he had stuff on his nose, on his cheek, and he looks like a dope fiend. I'm telling you right now, right? Look at, he's so skinny, like really, like he's like, he looks like Snoop Dogg when Snoop Dogg first came out, right? Like, if you remember, that dude was super skinny. But anyways, enough of Machine Gun Kelly. Actually, more of Machine Gun Kelly. Conor McGregor does an interview right after that. I saw that clip, and he's all like, "I don't know who that bloody rapper."
What?
Like he's like, "I don't know him." He knows who he is. He's like, "I don't Vanilla Ice wannabe rapper." Blah blah. That's what Machine Gun Kelly is. Like he's a Vanilla Ice machine like rapper, right? So it's like Conor McGregor must know. Yeah, let's look at this. Look at him, and he's on his broken leg. And he's on his broken leg. He's so piled up that he's walking on his broken leg. Look at him.
He dropped his cane for it.
Yeah, he dropped his cane. You would think like he would beat him with the cane like a real pimp, right? Like what's going on? Like if you're out there like doing your thing with the celebrities, like go out there and do something real. Like it almost seemed like Conor really didn't want to fight MGK. Like I'm not a fan of Machine Gun Kelly. I liked him in that movie, the Poison movie, where he played the drummer in Poison. Like he was really good in that.
It was Motley Crue.
Yeah, Motley Crue, and the great. Like I didn't even know it was him until like later, like in the middle of the movie. I'm like, oh shit, that looks like dude, right? But he was a good actor, right? He is, and yeah, and he picked up a dime piece. Like she's a dozen piece. Megan Fox, look at her. If you've seen her in the pictures, it's like crazy. Like I can't, no man's gonna pass that up. But anyways, but Potter, dude, like, why is he trying to fight this guy? Like, is the drugs really taking over? Like, can we really now speculate that there's drugs involved? Like, there's stuff that's in his mind that is just taking over. And then there's a video of right there of him and Wyclef in the what is it? Looks like they're in the elevator. I mean, like, what's going on? They're like, hey, you're so great. Oh, you're so great. Oh, you're so great. Oh, you're so great. I'm great. You're great. We're great together, right? Like this, the celebrities love to do that stuff. Anyways, but yeah, it's like up and down, right? Wasn't he like 5 minutes ago he was about to fight Machine Gun Kelly, but now he's over here hugging on Wyclef Jean? Like, and Wyclef, what's up with these mirror glasses, dude? It's the nighttime. You're inside of an elevator. Can you even see anything? Come on. Get out of here with that shit. But anyways, I got my Conor McGregor rant out the way. Now we could go to the real stuff, Nick. I'm sorry about that. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I thought we could talk about it a little bit. So yeah.
JHK with the early explosion.
Exactly. I just woke up like not too long ago too, so it's all good.
Let's just get it all out of our systems here.
Might as well.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about him.
Yeah.
Except that he's with Megan Fox.
There you go. He was in the DMs because he said except Megan Fox. He knows what's up.
I don't even know the guy.
I only fight real fighters, people that actually fight. You know what I mean? I certainly don't fight little vanilla boy rappers. I don't even know the guy.
Well,
You know what's funny about that line? What's
What?
funny about that line is that he punched an old man in a bar.
Yeah.
Exactly. He fought an old man at a bar,
So-
and then like now they putting up. You know who wins at the end of the day? Machine Gun Kelly wins at the end of the day through all of this. You know what I mean?
You had
Like
a little scuffle with Conor McGregor on the carpet. What happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's
Okay.
about all the
Yeah, that-
videos. So
yeah.
yeah, what the fuck's going on? Is he trying to make attention? Is he trying to
What
don't
is he
know.
making tension with Machine Gun Kelly? Like, what is he the biggest star? Why didn't he try to fight Bieber? Like, like that would have been a better story, right? Like he was buddies with Bieber. He was at his concert, like screaming and yelling like a 15-year-old teenage girl. And then like he flips on him on the VMAs and fights him, right? That would be a better story than Machine Gun Kelly, right? Like,
What Machine Gun Kelly's been at the Apex a few times recently, hasn't he? With Megan.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I think that what this may have come from, just from deductive reasoning, is if you look back at after Poirier beat him this last time, there was a video footage of MGK like hugging him backstage and everything. And knowing how
Okay.
petty Conor has been about this whole thing, if he saw that, I'm sure he wasn't too pleased with it when he saw him.
what?
Yeah.
This is weird, dude. Like, so if you have any positive message for Dustin Poirier, that's just you dissing Conor McGregor, man. That is beyond the realm of reality, right? Like in your mind, you think everybody's against you now. Like that's Machine Gun Kelly. Who's he gonna fight? Wiz Khalifa. Let's do that one. I think that should be a thriller matchup right there. Wiz Khalifa, they're kind of like same built, tall, lean guys. You know, of course, Wiz, we know that he's been training, but you never know with Machine Gun Kelly, man. He probably knows that funguku or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? That they learned in the streets of Cleveland. I'm just telling you, man. Bone Thugs and Harmony are black belts at that. So I'm just saying he might know that. He might come up in that lineage, but you know, we'll see what happens. Hey, Triller or Showtime, we need to put that shit together. Let's get that shit in.
The dumbest thing is that I don't know if you guys saw, probably not, but they have odds for if they were to fight now. Like, are you kidding me, man? Like, and it's Conor's minus 5,000, which is still too close of a gap. Like, would not be. It should be like minus 10 million, right? Like, Jesus. I mean, maybe he has a chance right now because his leg, but you know.
Yeah, you know, I was looking on the MMA websites to see what topics we could talk about today, and all it is Conor, Machine Gun Kelly, and then Evander v Vitor and Anderson v Tito. And I'm just thinking, what is going on? Why does everyone cover this stuff relentlessly? Why are people interested in it? I know
all those people complaining about, oh man, this website's clickbait and this website's honorable coverage and blah blah blah. Man, you guys need to shut the hell up, because why? Every website is covering MGK and Conor McGregor, and most of that is clickbait. I'm just telling you right now, and it's news too at the same time. But don't sit there and complain about like, oh, this website. Every website has clickbait. Every website, doesn't matter how distinguished and honorable the website is, it's there sometimes. You know what I mean? It just happens. You know, like, don't complain about it. It's part of the game. It's part of the story.
To get into the clickbait argument, you guys, if we're going to be specific about that, I think that in the sense of, you know, people say that these kind of stories and writing about them is clickbait, right? When in reality, clickbait is something that has a headline, right? It says that this thing happened, and then you open it and it didn't. That's real clickbait. What this just is just clearly, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's clearly going for the hot topic, the whatever you want for the click, but it's not bait, because what you're getting is actually what they're saying, right? That's the difference to me. When you look at the definition of it, people really have gotten that all over the place these days, which is understandable, because it's ridiculous what's going on, but I think there's a difference there. Not all this stuff is clickbait.
Yeah, agree with Drake. I just don't know why every time Conor does anything, it has to dominate the whole agenda.
Go to our private chat and
I see that
link. Do you think that's clickbait? I'm just saying.
So me and Nick have been talking about this.
I'm just saying.
That is
I
clickbait.
think qualifies. Yeah,
that's complete and utter clickbait, right? Complete.
Yes.
Like, there's no shame in the game. Clickbait, and this is someone or someplace.
That's not even the worst one, John. There's worse.
I know. But that's one of when I saw that one, I was like, oh shit. That, you know, people are gonna click on that, right? Anybody fighting? I'm not even gonna say it. I almost said it, but I'm just saying. You know, I'm just saying. So, anyways, yeah, you're right. You know, clickbait is a word that, or it's the definition of clickbait has been misconstrued like many times, and even in my mind, it switches every week what clickbait is. So, but you know, people might throw in a little drama here or there into the titles just to draw people in, right? Because that's at the same time, not everything's, you know, you got to draw them in. It's just part of what people do. But yeah, let's get into Nick. You know, you're gonna start off with this rankings.
Well,
and I cut you off.
There's a couple of questions. No, it's all good. You know, I was going to ask you guys, you think we should talk about Conor? And I thought, you know, everyone else is going to do it, the 100 other podcasts, so we'll leave it. But, you know, we might as well. And there's a couple of relevant questions here. So obviously people want to talk about it. So I'll put it to you guys. Whale Rider 3000, great name. So Conor versus Islam or Tony Ferguson, even maybe Dan Hooker. Yeah, what do you think is, you know, presuming it's not Machine Gun Kelly, who should Conor McGregor fight next?
Who should he fight and who will he fight are two different questions.
Yes.
Who should he fight? I guess I think I could see Tony Ferguson being the answer for both of those, but it really depends. If Dustin Poirier loses to Charles Oliveira, you know for a fact they're going to go for that quadrilogy, right? Like that seems like a no-brainer. If Poirier wins, then probably the Diaz trilogy, right? But Tony Ferguson is still out there. I think that's one that obviously was supposed to happen at a point. Tony's obviously lost 3 in a row now, hasn't looked so great. Maybe, you know, this would be his last chance at showing he still should even hang around the top kind of guys. I think that's perfect kind of not crossroads for both of them, but one that will tell us a lot about where each of them are at this moment. But in terms of the business side, I think that still the Diaz and Poirier fights are going to be top of the food chain for the UFC.
JHK, care to weigh in here?
Yes, Conor, man, he's gonna fight whoever he wants to fight. That's what's gonna happen. He holds the cards, right? He's the dealer and he's the whale, pun intended, right? In the
whale
casino,
rider.
at the table, right? You guys, you know that, right? If you've gambled or watched gambling movies, there's always the guy that they call in and they put out the red carpet for, and he's the whale right at the table. That's Conor McGregor in the UFC. So he's going to fight whoever he feels like is going to be the best matchup for him. Whatever strokes his ego, that's who he's going to choose to fight him. And yeah, like Drake said, you know, of course, Dustin and Nate are at the top of the list, but we don't know when Conor's even going to come back.
Right.
You have no idea. You won't even have a clue until I think the end of next year if he's gonna come back, right? Because look at him, he's trying to fight people on the red carpet with his one crutch, and he's not even using it. You know what I mean? Think of how much damage he could have done to his leg right there in that like 10 seconds of moving around, him all tense and like, you know, Conor, he gets all tense, like his upper body gets stiff, and he starts walking around like a you know, like one of those like robots on the Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise.
Great movie.
Great movie, right? But he gets all stiff, and you don't know what happens, man. When you're all stiff and your adrenaline's pumping, you might tweak something. You know, like people's knees get messed up when they get into those situations. So his leg could be even worse. Like we could get a clickbait headline next week: Conor McGregor re-injures his leg attacking Machine Gun Kelly. You know,
great headline.
Yeah, he threw bricks at Machine Gun Kelly, but which was the bricks of ice, right? Little small cubes of ice. But anyways, I don't even know when he's coming back. To be honest with you, it's not the matter of like who he's gonna fight. He fights whoever he wants. It's just like when is he gonna come back? Are we gonna continue talking about him? Is he gonna continue to be in the headlines with this like these little skirmishes everywhere? If he does, then of course people are going to continue talking about him. Conor has become this figure now to where whatever he does, he could take a dump at a bus station. We're going to talk about him, right? And how he lost his mind. And that just reminds me of that video I saw of that woman at the bus station in like China or something. Have you seen that video where she kind of squeezes like scoots to the edge of the seat? And you could imagine what happens after that, but it's on CCTV and that video is going around. I'm just saying that could be
seen things like that in person, but not this video.
Oh god. That's that Northwest for you right there.
Some Portland. Well, I've seen it in China as well, but yes.
Yes.
Oh,
But anyways, yeah. So Conor, you know, who knows what Ferguson's doing? You know, last time I talked to Dan Hooker, he told me Ferguson is not even like answering the phone calls from the matchmaker. So what can he be doing? Who knows what he's doing? I heard he had a new child, maybe. You know, maybe he's, I don't know,
kicking some poles.
Exactly. Like who knows what Ferguson's doing? But we don't even know what's going to be lined up by the time he comes back either, right? Is Nate going to even still be around to fight him? You know, it's weird. It's like Nate's kind of like in this position where he's like that dude in like those teenage romantic comedies where he's waiting for that girl to ask him out to the prom, and he's just waiting, but there's this other girl that he knows he can go with, but he's just waiting and holding out and trying to find clues and searching and hearing rumors, and he's just waiting and waiting and waiting. But then eventually what happens? She goes with another dude, a prettier dude, a dude with more in his pockets, right? Like that could become the situation with Nate Diaz at the end of the day with McGregor. I'm just saying. The great analogy, probably. Tell me, guys, in the comments. You guys hate me, right?
What you said something about Nate Diaz, Drake. What he's
Oh,
close to fighting Luque. Is that it? What's
he
going on here?
seems
There you go.
interested in that.
I found it on Junkie. Let's have a look now, quickly. So let's fight. Nate Diaz responds to Vicente Luque's call out for fight of the year matchup. Wow. Okay. So it's a 3-word tweet from Nate.
If this happens, which if Nate actually wants to do it, I see no reason why it wouldn't happen, right? Because Luque, of course, will take it. He's already called him out, yada yada. If this fight happens, you guys, it's gonna play out like this. Luque is going to finish Nate Diaz however he wants. However he wants. I don't care. What do you think? Look at what Luque's done recently. He finishes everybody. He's been in some
Look
of the
at your
best
goat
fights.
tattoo. Look at your goat tattoo.
Hey, listen, hold on. Hold on. He'll do that, and then he's going to get a title shot over Leon Edwards. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. To counter that, man, Nate, he's just getting every chance, right? Like every chance to step into that title picture. Like, because Luque, he's right up there with Leon and Gilbert and the rest of the guys are at the top of the division. So if Nate goes in there and there's always a chance he could win, you know what I mean? Like, remember, there's been fights where we thought, oh, Nate doesn't have a chance, and he goes in there and just somehow ends up beating the guy. Like, I think it happened like twice in my mind. Is like when he fought Cowboy. I think a lot of people felt like Cowboy, you know, back in the day was just gonna crush him, and he went in there and just mind fucked Cowboy and then beat the shit out of him, right? And then the other fight was the Michael Johnson fight, you know, like when he went in there and I think that was the turning point of Nate Diaz's career right there, when he beat Michael Johnson and he got on the mic, right? And I thought Michael Johnson was gonna beat the hell out of Nate Diaz. So this could be one of those situations where everybody's against Nate Diaz and he goes in there and maybe because I don't think Luque's faced anybody that would just be talking crazy to him like Luque does, right? It could mess with him a little bit. I think that's the only factor. That's the only thing that I could see Nate doing to win this fight, is to get into Luque's mind. And I've spoken with Luque many times, and I don't think he's ever faced anybody like that. I want to see how he reacts to that, because one thing about Luque, he's not going to say nothing to Nate. He's going to be like, I'm going to beat your ass. That's it. Like, it's going to be, that's what the situation is.
That's why Nate, I don't think, would say anything to him. Like, look back at even the Pettis fight, which was the last fight he won in 2019. Like, there wasn't much build up to that. You know, they said a couple things because they had a minor beef like back in the day. But when you think about it, only the real trash talking guys Nate will go back and forth with. Like, he hasn't said anything about Luque negatively so far. Just like, yeah, let's fight. I'm down for that. You know, I think that's what it would continue to be.
No, but I think it's in the fight though. The actual fight.
In the actual fight. Okay,
that's gonna be something to look out for. I don't mind this fight. You know what I mean? Nate Diaz is a big name. Luque has been wanting to fight Nate Diaz for a long time. So, you know, give Luque what he wants. Give Nate what he wants. Because Luque, he's been a company man for I don't even know how many years, man. He's been fighting everybody that they put in front of him. They should at least do him a solid like they did Leon. And hopefully he comes through, because Leon didn't come through. Because look who's fighting for the title right now. Covington, and not Leon, man. Leon's on no man's land island over there in southern UK. I don't know where the hell he's from.
The Midland. He's
Midland,
Birmingham or Wolverhampton. So yeah,
right.
Midland.
Sorry.
That's
Peaky Blinders. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I love that show. Birmingham, right? That's where they're from. I'm down for that. I love that. Yeah, roughly, right? Peaky fucking Blinders. I love that. I love that show, man. It's a great show. Anyway, so Nate, I think it's time for him to come back. I think it's time for him to fight. I think he needs to be a little bit more active, because I think if he's active, he's better when he's active. But he's also like 48 years old. You know, I think a lot of people get confused how old Nate Diaz is. He's not young. People think he's young because he acts like he's 14 years old and in the 90s, right? But he's not. He's not that kid anymore. He's a grown adult. He's a man, right? I think he's like 38. Maybe 39, 38, 37, something like that.
Around there.
So he's not young. I think Luque, if I was going to like predict this, like crystal ball shit, Luque goes in there and just smashes him like TKO. I don't think he submits him. I think he goes in there and smashes him like just continuously on the feet. Like his boxing is just way better than Nate Diaz's boxing. And at the end of the day, those leg kicks will be a factor.
That's like the reason why I didn't want to see Leon versus Nate. I don't want to see this fight because it doesn't like make sense. It's great for these top guys and getting better exposure because Nate is the bigger name. But if you look at it like right now, you should probably do that Luque Edwards rematch since unless Edwards wants to wait. And if you remember, Edwards was the last guy to beat him before Wonder Boy, which was like 11 fights ago. It's crazy how many fights he has in the UFC, right, John? But like Nate Diaz, as you mentioned, his age and everything, I think should be, if he wants to keep fighting, he should be fighting like around those Matt Brown type guys. And that'd be a fun fucking fight. Like, come on, give me that. You're doing Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler, which at least makes a little bit of sense, not throwing him right to the wolves like you did with Nate here with Masvidal even. But I don't know. Doesn't seem like the UFC is wanting to do that. But that's what I want to see. I want to see Matt Brown versus Nate Diaz. That's what I want.
Okay, there was something else Tristan asked. I guess we could talk about it now. While we're on the UFC, we'll get out of the way. About Luke Rockhold spoke to Ariel Helwani. I think it was Luke and Ariel. And he said something about Kamaru and Adesanya and how they've not supported Francis Ngannou during his current spat with the UFC. And I don't know. What do we think about that? I haven't read the quotes. I haven't seen it. Maybe I can bring up the article. I'll have a little look here. But have you guys seen this? Do you have any thoughts immediately before I find the article? Here it is. Let me just read it for you guys. Okay. Luke Rockhold. Usman Adesanya missed an opportunity to step up during Ngannou situation and change the landscape. So is it fair for Luke Rockhold to criticize Usman and Adesanya for this?
I think he can criticize whoever he wants, right? Because this is sport. This is sports. Sports is all about criticizing everything that people are doing, man. Without that, what are we doing on this podcast, right? We're just gonna like praise everybody. Yes, of course we praise people, but I'm saying like you're gonna be critical of things that other people do and what you see and how you see it, and that's why Luke Rockhold's a pretty damn good interviews because his perspective on things is much different than a lot of other fighters, and some fighters might have took the PC route on answering this question, but he didn't take the PC route. He said like what he thought in his mind, but I feel like he's wrong. The reason why I feel he's wrong is because Usman, Adesanya, and Ngannou are three different people. They're three different people from three different situations, three different weight classes, three different teams, three different management groups. They're all different, man. And you can't like just throw your support with so much on the line for yourself. You know what I mean? And I understand that position. If they did support him during his back and forth with the UFC, great. If they didn't, I don't put nothing against Usman or Adesanya, right? Of course, you want the fighters to stick together, but there's certain things that fighters will stick together for, and certain things they won't. And money is such a sensitive topic, especially with like the UFC strongholding like a lot of the contracts and the best fighters, and those two fighters are in the UFC, right? If they did come out, maybe they could have messed up something that they had in the works with the UFC or something outside of the UFC. I don't know, right? But you guys have to understand that everybody's in a different situation. It's like Nick and me and Drake. We're all on the same show here. Do we all have the same situation in our lives? No, everything's different. You don't know nothing that's going on the personal side or just behind the scenes, right? And I think that's the way you should look at it with Usman and Adesanya and Ngannou, right? You got to look at it as those guys have different lives, different perspectives, and different things going on to where they cannot just throw their support blinded support on somebody. And just because you're friends with them, because at the end of the day, are they really that good friends? Think about it. They're not teammates. Teammates and like guys that are teammates and become really good friends. Let me give you an example. Like Luque and Gilbert Burns. They're like teammates. They're not even training together anymore, really. But they've been teammates for a long time and they're really good friends, right? If they supported each other blindly, then I could see that happening. But With these three guys, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic points, man. And I don't really have too much to add to that. But when I first heard, like this from Luke, I was a little bit kind of confused and not sure if I did agree with it, just because like I was thinking that, yeah, maybe he was assuming that they were, or maybe a whole lot closer than they actually are, and defending their friends and all that kind of thing. And then I was talking to shout out to Pat O'J. I was talking to him about it, and I was like, does this kind of make sense to you? I don't think they're actually as close as maybe he's assuming they are. And then Pat brought up the point of how, well, look at it though, like Adesanya and Usman are two of the most dominant UFC champions right now. And then accompanying with Francis, just kind of having those big three. And on top of that, Adesanya being arguably maybe the biggest draw of a champion right now, unless I'm forgetting somebody. He's definitely up there if he's not the number one. But just having that group of three guys come out as champions, that, first of all, that's all you really need, right? That's a huge step in the right direction. It's sticking together. But then on top of it, it should not necessarily be made a race thing, right? But I think that would end up happening if that was to happen, which would probably help, though, actually, just in terms of how far that would spread into like mainstream media outside of MMA. If these three champions all stood together and maybe started getting something going, then I was like, okay, well, if Luke was thinking of it that way, I think he's got a great point, and that would make a whole lot of sense. But if it was not, then that's where I was a little confused. So interesting, though, for him to bring that up. And I'm glad, that he wasn't shy with his thoughts.
Okay. What about this question quickly? We plan to talk about some other stuff, but some questions here, so why not? We'll just get them now. Cody Garbrandt. Terrence is asking, do you think Cody can make the weight cut to 125 with all his health issues? Not trying to wish this on him, but I think his COVID issues alone with his liver will mess with the cut. And a few other people asking about Cody versus Kai. That seems to be the matchup, right? I don't know if they made that official yet. You guys might know.
I think it is.
Okay. Well, yeah. Thoughts on Cody and Cody versus Kai? Kick us off. JHK?
With Cody and the cut, I think it's going to have an effect on him. I feel like whenever you're losing like 10 pounds, especially if it's water weight, it's going to have an effect on you. Hopefully he's doing the right thing with the nutritionist and the dietitian and a witch doctor or whatever you need to get that weight down during camp. But he has the financial support, right, to be able to have every necessary tool, to get him to that weight and get him healthy enough to go fight. But we've seen what happened to somebody that recently cut down to 125 and he got knocked out, which is TJ Dillashaw. And what did TJ Dillashaw do to Cody Garbrandt twice? Knock him out. And I feel like that chin will be compromised. I don't know. I can't say it will be compromised. It will likely be compromised when he steps into the cage. And one of the worst guys to have a compromised chin against in that flyweight division is Kai Kara-France, because Kai will engage in the firefight with you. And if he clips you, he'll knock you out. And he's knocked out many guys, many 135ers, not in the UFC, but many guys outside the UFC, 135ers. That's where Kai was fighting most of the time because he couldn't find fights at 125. So he was fighting at 135 and knocking those dudes out. So I feel like Kai, if we're going to make an early pick, I'm taking Kai in that fight. And I think they're going to get into a firefight and Kai's going to clip him. And that if that chin is compromised, he's going to go down.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'd even argue, that it is already compromised, John. Like you look at that bantamweight. Yeah, he survived against Asan Sao and Rob Font. But, after that, there was the Munoz one. And yeah, I don't know. I don't trust his chin fully yet. And then dropping down in weight where we haven't seen him do that before. It's like, I'm not going to trust that till I see it. I felt the same way about Cody. And in this case, I feel like it is similar. And with a guy like Kai, who is definitely a flyweight knockout artist, I would expect the same. So I'm going to go with Kai as well.
Okay. Well, we'll get into your questions, guys, a bit later. We just had a couple of topics I think we wanted to talk about, so we'll get one of those at least out of the way first. But I appreciate all the comments and questions. Have to shout out my guy Alvin Yakitori, of course. Here's your sound
Yeah.
effect, Alvin.
Yes.
He's like
Alvin
he's like
bringing
a
the
tooth-
positivity.
He's like the tooth fairy.
Yes, yes. Alvin, welcome. Good evening, Mr. Riggs, Mr. Rakin, and Mr. Hyonko. I hope you had a
I'm
great...
just Mr.
Yeah.
Ko.
Mr. Ko. Not John Ko, as a few people call you.
Yes.
I hope you had a great weekend, even though there were no MMA fights. Yeah. I think we all relaxed. Drake got to go to the beach with his boys. I chilled out a little bit as well. And now I'm ready for some more fights. But some news we wanted to cover first. I wanted to speak quickly. I hope other people do as well. One released their new rankings for everything, but the interesting ones to me, obviously, are the atomweight MMA rankings. Given all the stuff that happened, Denise Zamboanga is still number one contender, which seems bizarre because she lost to Ham Sohee. Whether you agree or not, she lost. It was upheld after the review, split decision. Surely, guys, Ham goes up to number one. What do we think? Why would Denise remain one? Is it just because they want to justify her having a title shot after this whole thing ends? Do they want to appease the angry Filipino fans? Because there are a lot of them. If you just look at the comments on our video interview with Chatri announcing the result of the review. What's going on here? Drake, I'm going to throw it to you first.
I mean, honestly, Nick, I don't know if this helps. I think it might make them more angry because they're like, well, look, she's still number one. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I absolutely hate it in anybody's rankings. I don't care which organization you are, who's doing them, unless they were like absolutely, completely Diego Sanchez, Ross Pearson robbery, like that kind of thing happened. The loser shouldn't be ahead of the winner right after winning. They should maybe be right next to each other when it's this close like that. I'm totally fine with that. But we've seen it many times in the UFC, even after people have gotten finished. Like I remember when Sarah McMahon lost to somebody, might have been, I don't remember, but she got submitted and she was still ahead of the person. It's like, I don't know why this happens in multiple cases. However they tabulate the overall scores and everything. And in this case, I would not at all be surprised, Nick, if some people who are voting just were like, no, I thought Zamboanga won, so I'm going to keep her at number one, but I don't like it. I don't like it when the result is the result. You want the winner should be above the loser, right? That, I mean, it only makes sense. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, I just don't understand it. And also Mengbo, originally, I think they've corrected that now, but at first Meng was. Did you see the image I think Chuck put on Twitter? It was all over the place. It just didn't make sense. But I think they've corrected it now. But I am on the one rankings panel, whatever you want to call it. I submitted my votes. I think I did something like Ham, then Denise, then Ritu, Stamp, and Mengbo. So not too dissimilar, but it is that number 2 and number 1 there, which are just a little bit ridiculous to me. John, what are your thoughts on this? I want to get your take.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of just recently in Bellator, Pat Queally, he beat the number 1 ranked Patricky Pitbull, and the next week they still had Patricky Pitbull at number 1, and right now currently Pat Healy's at number 4, and I believe they're going to they're not going to rematch, but it kind of it reminds me of that situation where you clearly lost to that fighter, and then the rankings come out and it doesn't change, which is weird. And I feel like this is all setting up for my theory, my hypothesis as a scientist of MMA, is that they're going to give Dennis Zamboanga a title shot while the Grand Prix is going on, because the Grand Prix is going to end up delaying and it's not going to finish on time. And we're going to see Denise fight Julia Mezabarba. Denise, if she beats Julia Mezzabarba, that warrants her a title shot while the Grand Prix is going on. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, the Grand Prix is for the next title shot. It doesn't matter. MMA, those things don't matter. Things change every week in MMA, and especially with Grand Prix and all that stuff. That's my hypothesis of what's going to happen. I'm looking in my, I'm going to the Oracle. Shout out to the Matrix, and I'm taking the pink pill. And I'm telling you right now, this is what they're setting it up, because the Philippines is pissed off. I'm telling you right now, there are threats going around. Nick has gotten 50 death threats. I'm not.
Hey,
yes,
I'm not getting death threats per se, but yes, Chatri's getting a lot of hate on the comments on that video, and a lot of people are making this insult, or they think it's a really sick burn, but they keep saying, "Oh, one is now just a cooking show," presumably some kind of insult because of her ham,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's not really.
Well, I
funny.
reached out to him. To him, and I haven't heard anything back yet. But I'm thinking that, she's not really happy.
Why would she be? I guess she felt she won. She got 2 of the judges agreed with her. They reviewed it without any clear, egregious fouls or any mistakes, and the same result was reached. Of course, she might be a little annoyed.
I just wish, and even with UFC in America, how fights are scored, I just wish people would read the rules. That's all I want. And yes, Terrence, I was going to bring that up. Thank you for mentioning that. Now Hannah's out completely, but I assume that's because she might not even be with Bellator anymore. But I just wish people would read the rules. Guys, read the rules. Okay, that's all I can say.
Yeah. It seems a lot of the people in the comments as well on our video do not know the rules of one championship, and it's evident, like Drake says. Please understand, and Ham said that. Please understand, it's not the same as UFC. It is the global rule set. Just check it out. If you use the rule set, you can make a case for Ham winning. You can make a case for Denise winning, but Ham won. 2 judges saw it that way. Case closed, guys. Let's move on, please. Denise. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, this is a perfect example of how lazy fans are, right? Like, they don't even know what type of rules are in the rule set. And also shows you that you have to look past like this whole, like they are fighting and they are in there to knock each other out or submit each other, right? But at the end of the day, it goes beyond that. And this is a perfect example of that, because Ham told you need to understand the rules. And she clearly went in there, read the rules, read the judging criteria, and set out a game plan to defeat Denise with a game plan on the, just in case it goes to the judges, this will be effective enough to win the fight. And that's what she did herself. And it just shows you that, man, how cerebral Hamsahi is and her team, man. It's not like they just went out there without a game plan. They just did a camp and said, okay, go out there and finish Denise, because they probably thought Denise is going to be hard to finish. She's tough. So we got to figure out a strategy. We could go in there and win this fight with our strengths and look good in the judge's eyes. And that's what Ham did. And people are angry about that. I don't understand why you're angry about that. I understand that Denise was, she did really well in the fight, and it was a close fight. And a lot of people thought it wasn't a close fight because Denise dominated the whole fight. No, if you look at the judging criteria, she didn't dominate the whole fight. In your eyes, she dominated the whole fight, is because that's what maybe you wanted to see. And that's what you saw in your mind, because our minds are twisted, right? Most of the time of what we see and what we remember. So please remember that the UFC and One Championship have different judging criteria and different judging and different rules overall. Understand those rules and then kind of react to it. If you don't understand, go there and read it. But I know you're not going to go there and read it because most fans are lazy. Even me, when I was a fan, I didn't want to read the rules. I was like, what rules? You go in there and you break someone's arm or you knock someone's tooth out. That's what we want to see, right? So fans, I understand that you guys are upset, but move on. It's over. Denise is going to get an alternate bout, which is a slap in the face, to be honest with you. Like, why would you get an alternate bout? No, it's actually a slap in the face to Julie.
Oh, yeah.
Mezzabarba, because she just won a spot as the alternate, but now she's got to fight again to win her spot as the alternate. against probably the most dangerous girl that lost in the tournament, or she is the most dangerous girl that lost in the tournament, and maybe the most dangerous girl in the tournament that is not moving on, and you're going to have her fight again? That's why I think it's almost like a setup in a way. It's like Denise, they're trying to set her up for that title shot. I'm just saying.
Decline if I was Julie, man. I'd be like, no, I earned my
That's
spot.
not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Well, if you were her manager, she probably might not have a job next week. I don't know.
right.
Yeah, Chuck pointed out, Hammers had to turn off comments on her Instagram. That sucks because people clearly just abusing her, and it's not her fault. She's done what she's had to do. Irvin, asking, show us the rules then to the viewers. I can do that quickly if you guys want to see.
You could go on the app. You could go on the website. There's multiple places you can look. It's not like UFC and all that.
Yeah, it's very clearly explained here.
Yeah.
Judging criteria: near KO or submission is top of the list. Then damage, striking, and cage general tip.
Internal. What's up? What is internal damage? Is that bruising? Most likely, right? No, but that would be superficial.
So the thing about this, though, to point out, which I wish that they would say it, though, is that's in order. It's not all together.
Yeah, it's in order. Yeah, it's just like how Rizin too. Rizin has a different way of judging too. If you don't know that, then you kind of are hard to understand what exactly happens in those situations. And Rizin is a little bit different from these guys. Kind of more similar to One Championship, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, wrestling is almost last, points out Zazakita. And there was no near finish, so we take out that first one. Then the damage, you'd say Denise's face looked a lot more bust up. Not even just talking about that.
Well, I mean, I felt like it was fairly clear who did more damage in the fight, right? And then the control, very clear as well. Those two things, and you look at the order, as Sasuke points out, what Denise did was lower on the here.
They need to put some numbers next to this, so it's not bullet points.
And like why the judging is like this, right? Is because of Ben Askren, because he was winning exactly the opposite way of the judging criteria, and they're like, "Oh, we can't have like 50,000 Ben Askrens in this league, so we're gonna have to switch everything up." So that's what happened.
Ben was finishing though, John. You got to remember, he was a finisher in one.
I'm just busting balls. Busting Ben's balls, because Ben was probably the most dominant champion for his streak that he was on. But people, there's arguments there. But anyways, yes, please, the rankings. If I was gonna do the rankings, I would have done them just like Nick would have mentioned. Right? You put Angela, of course, she's the champ. Number 1 would be Ham. Number 2 would be what was it? Denise. Number 3 would be Ritu. Number 4 would be Stamp, and number 5 would be Mengbo. Is that what you said, Nick? I think that's a good rankings.
Yeah.
You could even argue that Aliona should still be in there though too.
Yeah. You could argue that Denise could be out of the rankings.
You could
pushing everybody forward and shit.
I just think, given the nature of the split decision, she wasn't knocked out or anything like that. That would have maybe made me think to not have her in the top 5. I mean, Aliona, it's tough on her, but a top 5 is tough. I do think there's enough fighters now to have a top 10 in this division, and Angela alluded to that when we spoke to her on the media day last week. So, any other changes in these rankings? I'm just going to show it on screen again quickly. I think Anissa Mexen came in, as you can see, to the atomweight kickboxing rankings, which fair enough. Although Christina Morales, that was her one debut as well. Does that warrant getting you into top 5? I just think it does, because that top 5 is so thin. Nothing there really. So I'm fine with that. And obviously Anissa Mexen is fucking good, so no problem. Anything else? Sitichai coming in to the featherweight Muay Thai. Sami Sana down 1. I think that's about it. Yeah, nothing else. No major changes. I think there'll be a lot more changes after Revolution. Some big fights at play there. Yeah, maybe we can mention that briefly. I put it on my Twitter, but Chatri seemingly confirmed that the Anatoly Malikin versus what's his face? Amir Ali Akbari is a heavyweight title eliminator. So Kang Ji-won is out of that picture, John. Which is
What?
weird. Yeah. Your
Oh
boy
my god.
Kang is who knocked out Amir is not in the title picture now for some
Makes
reason.
sense.
Maybe he's still having problems with his injury. Maybe that's the
He did have an orbital, right? Broken
something
orbital.
was going on with his face, and maybe that they have to like move on from him. Maybe he's waiting in the wings. I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask his handlers, see what's happening with Khan. But yeah, I'll try to get an interview with Ham, man, but just no response as of 2 days ago. So
Yeah,
I
I'm
guess
trying to get Denise as well. She did an interview last night with a Filipino media outlet. I can't remember who, but it was mostly
GMA.
maybe. But
of course.
it was she spoke mostly in Tagalog, so I don't speak Tagalog myself. But
I'm working on the other two as well.
yeah, we're gonna have a lot of more Grand Prix reaction coming your way. We'll try and get that Denise translated. We'll see. I'm trying to speak to her as well, but I haven't had any success. But what else were I going to say? Yes, and Chatri also confirmed seemingly that Kim, the fighting god, against Martin Nguyen, that is a next title shot. So number one contender after they do Tonin and Tanlay, which he seemed to say that Jason Burgos is now pushed back to 2021. So something's going on. So one of those guys is injured for sure. And someone's asking about DJ's opponent. Who you think DJ's fighting next? He also said to Jason that that's now looking like 2021. So it was originally for the 10th anniversary. And he was supposed to confirm it to Ariel, presumably last night or this morning on the MMA hour. So
did he go on the show?
No, I didn't see him. So
it's Wednesday, so it'll be the next one.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with DJ there, but it seems like a lot of moving parts for one, and don't know what is going on.
What do you think of Ariel and his like back and forth with it doesn't really seem like a back and forth, but it's like his like I don't know if like it's a counterattack on Brendan Schaub, but to me it's like it's so funny. It's like comedy to me. I don't know. I laugh when I watch it.
I haven't watched any of it, but yeah, I have nothing to say.
But the thing is, like, go ahead, Drake.
I mean, I think it's nice to see him kind of sticking up for himself, because I don't watch Brendan Schaub stuff anymore, but I used to a couple of years ago, mainly for Brian, and we were good together, but then once all that stuff happened and everything, but I don't know, because I think it's pretty clear Brendan over exaggerates and talks a lot of shit about some things he definitely shouldn't, and it's good, I think, for Ariel to kind of at least be honest from his side of things and say, let his feelings out there. People can interpret it however they want, but like, I'd be a little annoyed too if I was in his position. Like, why does this guy keep talking about me when we really have no interaction? And he says that, I know these things. These guys wanted him out of ESPN, all that stuff. Like, I totally understand where he'd be coming from. So, yeah, I have no problem with him speaking his mind that way. It is entertaining to see, though, John. I'll give you that much.
It's funny to me is because, to be honest with you, it's funny to me because Ariel tries to act like he's like a tough guy. In a way, if you listen to what he's saying, you know what I mean? He's trying to kind of like saying like, this is Helwani, but really
that part's a little annoying. Yeah.
You wanna sit in your, in your, what is it? In your sky castle and like yell things down at people and think like that's the way to do it. I don't know, man. Like he says that he'll step up to him, then go step up to Schaub and film it. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see you guys talking back and forth on your radio shows. Go step up to Schaub and say those things. And he said he will say them, right? And then people are saying that he is who he is. So if you're going to be a tough guy, then step up and be a tough guy. I think that's the answer to the question. Like, to me, he's still the guy that cried on his show. He's still that guy, I mean, it's the same thing, like Ariel, he's in such a good position for himself that talking about Brendan Schaub, it does nothing for you. Like, it's not like Brendan Schaub is like getting Joe Rogan numbers. You know what I mean? Like that's his audience. It's not. You actually probably get more of an audience. Ariel Helwani gets a more of an audience than Brendan Schaub. So you're actually helping him out. So if that's the case, dude, like, why are you doing that? Like, you're supposed to be better than that. So, I don't know. To me, it's funny. It's funny to me. I laugh at it because at the end of the day, I don't think he'll go up to Schaub. Maybe he gets his,
Well, I don't think either of them will go out of their way. That's the thing,
exactly.
right?
Like, even Schaub, you know what I mean? Like, he's in such a good place. Like, he could, to be honest with you, Schaub could really like lie and like tell fake stories all day about Ariel if he really wanted to, you know what I mean? And you know what? It's not like we've never heard stories about Ariel and like people getting screwed over by him. It's not like we've never heard it. Is it true or false? We don't know. But it's not like we've never heard those stories, right? We've heard them. You know what I mean? We've heard them in the back, and we heard them in the front. You know
Taking
what I mean? Like,
my one exclusives away from me, huh?
exactly. See? This is Nasty Nate. No, I mean, not Nasty Nate. Nasty Nate's
Nasty
that
Nick.
the guy, the prison guy from Half Baked. This is Nasty Nick. Same style. But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, it's funny to me. Like Schaub, it's like picking low hanging fruit. Schaub is, I think so. Like, of course, Ariel was. Schaub said some things, but a lot of the things that Schaub was saying, from what I remember watching the videos, is that this is what he heard. Right? This is what he heard. And you got to think, Schaub is not a journalist. He's not going to go fact check it. He's going to go ask 50 other people, like, did you hear the same? No, he's just going to go out there and say what he heard. That's who Schaub is. Go fight Joe Rogan because he's the one who was the original one. Go attack Joe Rogan. I think that's the fight that we want to see. But you don't want the Joe Rogan warriors all over you, dude. Like, Joe Rogan has this audience that will like send you, like, remember, I don't really watch his show. I don't really watch Brendan's show. I'll see clips. Ariel's show, I don't really watch Ariel's show either. I'll see clips. You know what I mean? I'm not like a guy that sits down and watches the 4-hour show. Like, I don't have time to do that. But I'll watch clips. And Ariel, there's no doubt about Ariel's the number one guy in this space, in MMA media and all of that. There's no doubt. If you think he's not, I don't know, man. I think that you're on drugs, right? Dude is number one. Okay. He probably makes the most money. He's the most recognizable. He gets the most of any access, right, to anybody. So him crying about access, to me, that's funny too. Because we know personally what access and not having access is like.
Oh boy.
And him, he's pretty much access to everybody, pretty much, right? So anyways, yeah, I think that whole thing is just funny, and I hope it's over. I hope that last week was the only week, but I know that people are going to continue asking him questions about it. Like, what about Luke Thomas? What about blah, blah, blah? What do I do? Oh, Ariel's a gangster. I'm like, come on, dude.
Well, I
Let's move
don't.
on.
Yeah, for me, but I never like seeing media fight with each other. I feel media need to stand together and help each other, lift each other up. MMA media seems like a lot of people hate each other. There's a lot of feuds going on. It's just pointless.
Exactly, right?
It's not just MMA. There's a thing in sports media. I don't know about other industries of media or areas, but trying to knock each other down and knock other people's stories down and not credit other people's stories. Like, guys, I've been moaning to you about a certain story which a certain outlet blatantly ignored that we had the exclusive on, and they, what I'm talking about, but I won't.
It's been happening a lot, though. You know what I mean? Like, I just saw it happen to somebody over the Alex Pereira announcement. Right?
Yeah,
like
Alfredo and Mark Raimondi.
Yeah, like that situation happened, and sometimes in some instances it could be an honest mistake in some instances, but it just takes a quick Twitter search or a Google search, and then you'll find out like if you were the first one or not, right? Just That's why I don't like playing that game either, man. Like, oh,
Mm.
I'm gonna get some exclusive news. It's a tough game to play, dude. Like, cause you got to be
Yeah.
right, and you got to be the first one to put it out there, and that's
Well,
a whole nother.
it's like when I revealed the Eddie fight against Oak, and that was, I think I got that straight from Chatri's mouth, and then ESPN had the news, but they were sitting on it, so they quickly rushed out a story and said it was like their sources. But in that instance, you still got to say first reported by SCMP or something like that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I had the
But
same
they
thing
don't
that I
like
was
to
telling you
seem
about.
like they don't want to be bracketed with these smaller, in their eyes, publications.
Well,
It's like, dude, you're the biggest organization covering it, mate. Give everyone else a hand. Like, lift
Yeah.
up some other people. Come on.
well, you know,
It's
that's another battle that we face as, you know, people that cover the sport that are not in North America. You know, being in North America, it helps, you know what I mean? Because all the shows are there now. So if you wanted to like cover it and you have the resources to do it, you can go there and cover it. Like, we can't go there. It's pretty much impossible. Like, how much it would cost to just send one person to cover shows. And 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 it's like sometimes they don't recognize certain outlets unless that you're a US outlet, right? It's like, oh, you're not from America? Okay, then I guess you're not worth our time. You know, there's snobbish actions, you know, in that aspect too. So, you know, it's just I don't want to sit here and complain about it, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? It just matters what you're doing, and you do it right, you do it the proper way. But yeah, it's kind of shitty that these big publications that they don't need no help, they want to take all the credit, you know, and they do it to people, and when you go on Twitter and you see it happening, I'm glad that, you know, people are calling people out for it. You know what I mean? It's good.
Yeah. As Akita says, ESPN isn't going to collaborate with smaller organizations just like UFC won't with others. I did work at ESPN before, and yeah, it did seem like they would, if there was a big breaking story, they would not report on it. They would get their reporter to go and confirm it like a day later and then paint it as their own story, which is stupid. It's just,
It's funny because, like, yeah, I mean, I noticed MMA and Junkie and Fighting do that same thing, but they still credit. You know, like they'll say,
Yeah.
we also confirmed after these guys did. Like, there you go. So
that's the
it's not
best
hard.
way forward, I think. Definitely. All right. Yeah, there's some other debate going on in the comments about. I'll leave that. Like everyone's saying, leave that for Wednesday's show with Drake. I have no idea what you're talking about, guys. Or maybe Drake does.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah. Great to see the trio back together, says Matthew. Yes, the terrible trio. Exactly. Well, we wanted to do quickly a Rizin preview as well.
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna throw it to you boys because I got no clue what to look out for on this card. Here we go. We're using
All of
Tapology
it.
because Fanatics doesn't have the Rizin cards on its app for some reason, as far as I'm aware. I looked for it, couldn't see it, so got to use Tapology. Sorry, Fanatics guys, if you're watching. But all right, yes, guys, what's top of your list? Drake said all of it, but yeah, I know there's a couple of names jump out to me there immediately, but it looks like a very good card. So Drake, go ahead, you're first. What is the number one fight to look out for?
Oh, the number one fight. It's really tough, man, because as you said, there are some names here that stand out. Like obviously Inoue, Kai. I think always those guys are must see no matter what. But in terms of the fight, I don't know if either of those fights necessarily would be, you know, the ones to go with. In terms of a fight, I think it's probably between Sasaki and Horie and Hamasaki Fujino too for me. Of course, I love this. I love the story of the champ versus champ fight with the rematch right there. Hamasaki and Fujino, the best friends, 8-year-old rematch, all that stuff. All the boys from WMA today, they know I've been talking about it for a long time now since it was made. But Sasaki and Poirier, though, like, this is Ulka is coming back after coming back from the broken jaw, right, and getting that win on New Year's Eve against Kenta at bantamweight. So he's returning to featherweight, which he was featherweight like start of his career, and taking on Poirier, who was in the UFC for a minute. Like I think he only had the one fight, right? I don't remember exactly, but made his Rizin debut in his last fight. Looked great, and now they're going against each other. I'm really looking forward to that one. And I think, oh, and I completely missed it. Takeda versus Yauchi's on here, so I should probably say that one because that's pretty much guaranteed fireworks, as generally Yauchi is, and he's finally getting some wins again, as he was on a brief skid there. But Koji, I mean, that's a guy who I think should have been fighting for the title on this card, but not quite ready yet, maybe in the promotion's eyes. So if he wins this one, you can expect Koji versus Roberto Satoshi for the title on New Year's Eve. I think that's practically a guarantee if he gets past that one. But that's probably the fight, actually. I mean, those final three before the intermission, I would say. Tough to pick for me, man. I love the story, though, the most for the champ versus champ rematch.
Okay, well, why don't we go to the top of the card then? So I am a Rizin newbie, complete idiot. Have we got the quarterfinals of a Grand Prix here, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So those top 4 fights, the bantamweight tournament. Why don't we just go through them then? JHK, I'll throw it to you. Yuki Matoya and Kenta Takezawa. Who are you picking and why?
I'm going to pick Yuki
That's a good fight too.
Motoya. I'm picking Yuki Motoya. I think the
Brian Campbell here.
I think Yuki. I think he's just too experienced, man. I think he's gonna be able to kind of stay away from the power shots of Takezawa, and be able to fight the fight where he wants to, which is on the ground. I feel like he'll be able to drag him to the ground, neutralize any kind of striking with that, and be able to get a decision or a late submission against Takezawa. I like Kenta too, man. He's a young buck, but Yuki, man, he's too slick, man. He's like a snake, but a snake that will squeeze your eyeballs out, right? So I'm taking Yuki. Yuki's a unique character.
I completely agree with you, John, on all of that. And Yuki Matoya, as I've said in the past, what I said, I think before the New Year's Eve show, like the guy pretty much only loses to people that he should lose to. And I don't necessarily think Kenta's that guy, but the Imanari fight kind of makes me give Kenta a pretty good chance here. And I might actually favor him to win this, actually, because of that very smart performance. And I know Imanari is an incredibly unique opponent to fight, but he fought exactly how you should have fought, that fight. And it wasn't the most exciting. I thought it was very entertaining to see like that very obvious mental chess match going back and forth. But I mean, if he can stay off the ground with Matoya, which I think he will probably try to do now, just going based off his last fight, he should have a slight edge in the striking. He's got the length, very big bantamweight, as you can see right there in the numbers, and powerful and all that stuff. I think he can, maybe I could see a finish, but either way, I could see him outpointing Yuki. But of course, that's 3 long rounds to avoid going to the ground with him. And we've seen that's his weakness. But I really like the fight IQ he showed in his last fight. So I think I might lean a little bit towards Kenta just because that. But Yuki is the safe pick, that's for sure.
All right. What about Hiromasa Oji Kubo and Takafumi Otsuka? Who have we got here? I'm going to throw it to John again first.
Well, if you look at Hiromasa and his record since 2013, he's only lost to 2 people, Horiguchi and Kaya Sakura. And the rest of them, he's pretty much either dominated to a decision or they were close fights. And I feel like only people that could probably beat Hiromasa is Kaya Sakura and Horiguchi. And unfortunately for both of them, they kind of have a similar striking background. And I feel like Otsuka, he doesn't have that to be able to, overtake Hiromasa. And I think Hiromasa is going to slide to another unanimous decision in this fight and move on to the next round. Osuka, he's up there in age, and I feel like that's another advantage for Hiromasa. Hiromasa's not as old, but still up there. He's 34, but Osuka is 36. 2 years, and how many fights they both have? Osuka has like 60 fights, dude. No, 50 fights. That's crazy, right? 36-year-olds with 50 fights. Yeah, I'm definitely taking Hiromasa on this one.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Completely agree with John's assessment there. Yeah, Hiro, just another guy who you really look at. He definitely doesn't lose unless it's to the best of the best. And you didn't mention Naoki though, John. I think Naoki that'd be a very good fight, and I'd favor Naoki in that one. And we'll get to him here in a moment. But yeah, I mean, I struggle to see Hiromasa not doing his thing in this one.
Okay, short and sweet. There you go, Naoki Inoue and Yuto Hokamura. Who have we got here? We'll go to you again first, John.
Well, Yuto Hokamura, he is Kintaro. So let's
Kintaro.
refer him to Kintaro.
Brian Campbell up in the house everywhere.
So Kintaro.
I love Brian, good dude. But anyway, yeah, sorry.
He, I think that this is going to be the upset special of the night. I think Kintaro goes in there and knocks out Inoue.
Wow.
I love Inoue. I think Inoue is probably the best fighter in this tournament. I think overall he's the best fighter in this tournament. But matchup wise, I think Kintaro, he's just a madman. I think that madman is gonna come out and take out Inoue. I just have this funny feeling, right? I always get these funny feelings like Brunson submitting Till, Giga knocking out Edson Barboza. I picked both of those upsets.
Ortega knocking out Edgar. Remember we had that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Together.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what was it? Like 3 minutes before the actual finish, we're like, yeah, man, this is gonna happen, and then boom, uppercut, death. Right. So I think like Kintaro Hokamura, I feel like he's gonna be able to go in there and do the exact same thing. I think this is gonna be the upset surprise of the night. If I'm gonna pick one.
Man, that I love the confidence in that one, John, but I don't see it. I don't see it at all. I am all aboard the Naoki hype train. He's looking absolutely incredible right now. I would love to see him face Kai, Horiguchi, you name it. Have him fight everybody. This guy's looking incredible. I did not expect him to beat Ishiwatari the way that he did. Kintaro here, I think that of course he can crack, we know that, but he likes to lean on his wrestling a bit, and if he does that here, we've seen Naoki, he's a killer on the ground too. What he submitted Yuki, which that was also a surprise. Like, Naoki right now on this stretch is doing everything I did not expect him to do. Like, we knew how good he was going into these last so many fights and joining Rizin and all that, but he is impressing in insane ways for being only 24 years old. And to think he's only going to get better if he sticks with it, I mean, goodness, that's a horrifying thought. And I don't think he's going to be stopped in this case right here. He's proven to be able to win in every area a fight can go. But it is possible, but I don't feel the same as John.
Okay. And the other quarterfinal, Kai Asakura against... this is Hiro Yamaniha, right? I haven't got the name right. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes. So obviously Kai, former champ. Why don't we go to Drake first? Huh?
Yeah. So Yamaniha got that win over my sleeper, my dark horse for the whole tournament in his last fight. And now he's taking on Kai Asakura, who should be favored alongside Naoki. That's the perfect finals. I think if you were to draw this up and be like, oh, who do we want to see in the finals? That's exactly what Rizin would want. And I think that Kai should win this. I mean, if you look at how he did against Shuto, which we knew Shuto needed to get him to the ground. He tried. Kai showed fantastic takedown defense, sprawl, and then absolutely butchered him with knees and, painful ground and pound on the ground. That's exactly what you need to see against the bonsai boy in Alan Yamaniha, who's training with Satoshi, the lightweight champ, and Kleber, who I believe is going to be the featherweight champ soon enough. Those guys are both incredible, but I don't think Yamaniha has quite to their level yet, and you can see that by his record. But he looked solid in the last fight, and had his opponent in trouble, whose name I'm blanking on if you couldn't tell. But yeah, I think this is also Kai's fight to lose, similar to Hero. But Yamaniha, though, being a bonsai guy and with the submission skills, he could always pull something out. If I was to take an upset pick, it would probably be him in this round. But I think Kai is on a mission to get back to that Horiguchi trilogy. And yes, he hits very, very hard.
Okay, floor is yours, JHK.
With Yamaniha, right? He's a guy, of course, he loves the ground, but he can mix it up, man. He's not afraid to strike. And if he's not afraid to strike against Kai, well, he's gonna go to sleep because Kai's gonna put him to bed. Like with Kai, I don't really remember the last time where he actually initiated wrestling, but I feel like it was during the Top Noi fight, man. I think that's the fight where he like took Top Noi down and then wrestled him and tried to finish him on the ground. And I don't think he's gonna do that here. I feel like if Yamaniha cannot get Kai to the ground, he's gonna be a fish out of water, man, because Kai's just too fast, just too powerful, and just too versatile to defend against, especially with the level of striking that Yamaniha brings into this matchup. I'm taking Kai all day. I feel like it's going to be another first round finish in this one. Yamaniha, he better not play around too long, because if he does, dude, it's going to be a quick night for him. But he could surprise people, but I don't think he's going to surprise people in this fight. I feel like there's not a big or huge gap, but there is a gap in talent, especially, not talent, skill, especially on the feet. And I feel like this is going to stay on the feet, and it's not going to be a good night for Allen Yoshihiro Yamaniha.
Okay. That's the tournament. Yes, Naoki Inoue. Sorry, we did that. Ayaka Hamasaki and Emi Fujino. Yes, we mentioned this. Drake is looking forward to this one. I don't know if you gave us a pick, Drake. So why don't you do that?
I did not give a specific pick, and I love both of these ladies dearly. But also, if you know me very well, you know that I feel nobody not named Sohee Ham is beating Ayaka Hamasaki. She just hasn't shown me any reason to doubt her. And Kana Asakura did put up a much better fight in the rematch that they had in her last fight than I expected. But still, this is Ayaka Hamasaki, the atomweight GOAT, one of, if not the most underappreciated fighter of all time, in my opinion. Taking on Emi, who is also very underappreciated, but and a true pioneer. But we saw this fight already, and Ayaka has gotten significantly better than Emi has at the time since then. And Emi is dropping down. This is her first fight below 115 pounds, so we'll see how that affects her. But yeah, I just can't go against Hamasaki. I think that she is just better everywhere. That's just the truth of the matter. But Emi can make it interesting. They are very good friends. They've trained together and gotten close since the time after they fought in 2012 or whenever that fight was, when Hamasaki got the unanimous decision. But yeah, she's just such a monster right now at this late stage of her career, as you can see, both 39 and 40, and both champs, as I said. But yeah, man, I just cannot pick against Hamasaki if your name isn't Sohee Ham. And then even then, I probably wouldn't pick against Hamasaki in the quadrilogy, but we won't get to see that, unfortunately.
Okay. Any love for the Kamikaze Angel, John?
One of the best nicknames, might I add.
Fujino, is that Fujino? Yeah, Fujino. In 2016, she fought Yan Jiaonan and Zhang Wei Li in the same year and lost. Well, one of them was a no contest ahead, but I remember that fight. I think I was there.
She's fought everybody, man.
Kowloon, yeah. And the thing about her, if you look down her record, her last wins are against her last opponents, 3-2 record, 8-6 record, 4-0 record, 5-1 record, 5-2 record, 12-10 record, 0-1 record, 5-2 record, 7. Well, that's before Yao Zhao. So all of these records, right? These are the type of opponents she's fighting with very limited, experience, and she's beating all of them except for Viviane Araujo. What happened to Viviane? She's in the UFC now, right? Yeah. So she's doing pretty good over there. But that's the only loss she's had in the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah, something like that. But the competition has not been stiff. Man, this competition is completely stiff, and this stiff competition is gonna bulldoze her. I think this fight is not gonna even be close. I think Hamasaki goes in there and just dominates everything. And I think that she ends up finishing her in the end of the first round. If she's not playing around too much, end of the first round, I think she finishes her and then just continues her campaign as the best female atomweight, arguably in the world. I can't believe she's ranked number 12 in Tapology. That's crazy to me. Like,
Tapology rankings are not good. They have Bob Sapp in like the heavyweight rankings, so they're
I'm
just
about to
a
say,
little
dude.
joke.
I was like, what is going on? But the thing is, there's a problem with the atomweight division in Rizin. The reason why is because we always blame it on the pandemic, right? Because they can't fly in people from abroad as easily as they did in the past, where they're running out of fighters for Hamasaki to fight because she's fought everybody, or at least, and some of them she's fought them twice and beaten them. So how many more women are you going to put in front of Hamasaki? What, they're going to, sign Mei Yamaguchi and have her come in to Rizin and fight Hamasaki for the belt too? That's not the out of the realm of possibility, right? With this, they need people to fight Hamasaki if she wants to continue fighting, and they need to bring people from abroad. I know the Olympics kind of opened things up a little bit, but I wonder if maybe beginning of next year we're going to start seeing more foreign fighters in Rizin. Do you know anything about that, Drake?
More foreign fighters in Rizin? Is that what you were asking?
Next year, yeah, next year.
Nothing specific. Honestly, it sounds like we're kind of still no real traction's been made as for what Japan's allowing and all that kind of thing. So I haven't heard anything yet, but the hope is kind of that by this New Year's Eve show, it should be a little bit more normal. But that's kind of been the hope for a month or so ago. So maybe there's been some new developments, but I haven't really heard too much that has changed. Like you said, Olympics maybe was helpful. I know that there was kind of some weirdness about when Tofik got in, came into Japan for that fight with Satoshi. So we'll see. But all we can do is hope, right? Cross the fingers.
and the sleeper fight of the night, I know Drake talked about it earlier, but man, that Sasaki versus Hori, that's going to be a good fight right there. That is like a main card fight. And then that shit's in everything's main card, it looks like here, but that's going to be way down I think in the lineup, right? So we're going to start.
I think that's the spot it will be. So that's the fourth fight, and then the intermission will be after Hamasaki Fujino too.
And then the tournament comes through, right?
Yeah.
That's this Sunday.
Yeah, this Sunday. Hopefully maybe we do a little recap.
And also want to point out that opening the show is history with the first female kickboxing fight in Rizin history, with Rina Panchan Okamoto taking on Momoka.
Is that Brett's cousin or something?
Hey, maybe. But Panchan is very fun to watch. Great personality, superstar in kickboxing. So great for them to get this spotlight. And
I have no idea who those women are.
Should be a showcase for Panchan. So
yes,
I might for that.
You know what? I might not even watch it, to be honest with you. I have no idea who they are, and plus,
that's how you learn, John.
I'm spoiled by the One Championship Super Series, the MMA gloves with Muay Thai, that it's like hard for me to watch kickboxing. I don't know why. It's just like, get these ladies in some MMA gloves. Come on. Let's see what we can do.
Well, Panchan said, I've spoken to her before, and this was right after one of her fights in like the last 3 fights or so. But I asked her about, if she ever wanted to get into MMA, and obviously this is a great step in that right direction. But she feels like I still got to become the absolute best at kickboxing and feel like I'm at that point yet. Kind of clean things out, like let's say Reyna did before she moved over. Looks up to her, and just because of how hard MMA is. And she's not that old. I think she's only 27-ish. I don't know if it says here on Tapology, Nick, but she has time, and I wouldn't be surprised. But she's very small. This fight is at 102 pounds, but she has the frame to pack on. So, yeah, she's an absolute monster for the division. That's for sure.
I'm on her Instagram right now, and I'm watching a video of her wash her hair.
There you go.
That's the type of content we're looking for.
That's what you need.
You got Head and
Chan
Shoulders?
Chan's got it.
Or Vidal Sassoon? What do you got? What you using? Bed Bath and Beyond? We want to know.
Why don't you guys make some very quick picks for these other 4 fights then, before we wrap it up, because we got about 5 minutes. What Koji, Takeda, and Yasuki Yachi. Drake, just a name, and I'm like, very quick.
Yeah, I think Koji, the guy's very good, and like I said, is right in line for the title. Yauchi has had some speed bumps, but kind of gotten back on track with these last 2 fights or so. But I think it's Koji's time to keep the momentum rolling.
And
Yauchi, he just hasn't looked the same in his last 5 fights at all. Like, it just looks like a downward spiral. And even in his last fight, he doesn't have that bounce, that confidence that he normally has. And since he's lost that, he just doesn't seem like the same fighter. And Koji, he goes in there with not as a big of a name as Yachi. And I think Yachi's dating some like superstar actress / model / YouTuber / TikToker, whatever. Anyways, he's got all the clout. Takeda is going in there. He's chasing after that with his beautiful tan. And I'm taking Koji in this fight coming up. Just because
he's a couch, that man. He's a leather couch.
He is, for real. Like, him and Sexy Yaba, dude, like, those guys they look like lazy boys.
But they happily admit it, though. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, well, it's the culture. There's a culture of that, right, in Japan. So
they look like lazy boys.
And okay, a couple more fights. Shinobu Ota and Yuta Kubo. Drake, who you got?
I don't know who Kubo is really, but Ota, of course, has that wrestling background, and of course, dropped the loss to forgetting who it was in his last fight. Oh man, who's his last fight, Nick? But go over the name there. If you hover over the
between
L.
them, they have one fight, and it was a defeat.
Yeah, well, I'm going to take Ota because this is a wrestler versus striker match. I think Kubo's a kickboxer coming over, so
this is a weird matchup. It's a weird matchup, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Takoro, that's who it was, right?
And that's a ground guy.
That was a fun fight too, but
I don't know nothing about these guys. I did see that Takoro fight, so I'm gonna take Shinobu Ota.
He didn't look bad against Takoro, who's got like 60 million fights.
and I think he is. If I remember it right, he did escape a few times, and then he just got caught like just too deep inside of the choke, right? No armbar. But like the rest of the fights, you could just ask Drake because I don't have no idea.
Well, this is the only one we haven't got to.
So we didn't make picks for Sasaki and Horie.
Oh my god, is there more? Okay, yeah. Sorry, I missed this one. Do that. Sasaki and Horie, Drake.
That's a tough one, man. I think that Sasaki looked so massive back at bantamweight in his last fight. That was really something to see. And I don't know how big a factor it played against Kenta, because Kenta is also a very big bantamweight, right, John? But going up actually to 145 again and taking on Horie, who very solidly fit at featherweight. I think Sasaki will look fine, and it shouldn't be too big of a deal, but it makes me still wonder because I mean the guy still somehow managed to fight at flyweight. But and taking on Horie here, I don't know. I'm gonna go with Sasaki just because I think overall his game's better. But I'm very intrigued to see how the weight change goes for him.
I'm gonna take Sasaki because the boy is beefed up. You know what I mean? Like he is long, tall, lean, and this is how I see the fight happening. Remember this: they're gonna get into an exchange striking because Horie, of course, he has that kind of that karate style, that Horiguchi style of striking, and he's gonna go leap in. Sasaki's gonna wrap him up, clinch with him, and take him to the ground and submit him. I think Sasaki at 145, he's a different animal. I feel like we're gonna see a rebirth, like people like to say a 2.0 of a version of a fighter. I think that's what we're gonna see with Sasaki. I felt like he drained himself too much in his last fight, going down to 135. In this one, he doesn't have that drain. He's going to be fully hydrated, fully himself with all the skills that he has. And he's going to go in there and crush it. I think that's what's going to happen, that submission in that first or second round.
Okay, and there was one more fight. Yes, sorry. Shoji Mariyama.
Some old ladies fighting a young buck. Why is he dressed like an old woman?
That's how Shoji rolls, man.
Oh, really? Oh, is that a samurai suit? Is that what it is?
It's some kind of robe. He does have the sword, though.
He's like throwing like magic dust at somebody right there in this picture. You see that? He's like
on the top rope, too.
Yeah, on the top rope with his legs all wide open.
Well, be that as it may, is that enough to get him the win?
I mean, I think that Shoji is definitely kind of at that point of washed, as much as I hate to say it, but he's clearly got the experience edge and all that. But you look at his last two performances and not great at all. Got a little bit assassinated in both of them. And despite that, though, I think that this is a favorable matchup just based off of, his experience and his strengths. But I think you should hang him up with a win here because his losses have not been pretty.
Well, look at he's been fighting, right? He's fought Yuki Montoya. He fought Kaya Sakura. He's fought Takaya Mizugaki. We know that guy, right? So that's like 3 of his like last 5-6 fights. He's been fighting the best of the best. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this guy with this beautiful dress on and his cape or whatever that is and his magic dust. I think the magic dust wins. I think we're going to see the first magic dust finish in MMA history with this fight.
Okay, well, yeah, like Alvin says, I want to second that. Very grateful to you guys for taking time to analyze each matchup.
Even my magic dust analysis? Damn.
Yeah, even that one.
Alvin.
Yeah, that's about it for the show then. We will be back on Thursday in some form, I believe. Chris was asking earlier about a Bellator preview. Maybe Chris and I can do that, and UFC. We'll see what happens. Who knows? If things keep happening again like they did last week, I may even be back tomorrow in some form. You'll just have to wait and see. But yes, I want to thank JHK and Drake for their time. And it's going to be a busy week. UFC and Rizin on Sunday for me. When's Bellator then? Is that Friday?
I think
Saturday.
It might be going head to head with UFC. I'm not totally sure.
God. We're 3 in one day in Asia. That's gonna be great.
Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see then, guys. So yeah, it should be a busy week.
Who's fighting this weekend?
I don't know.
Oh, Romero's back.
So we go from nothing last week to everything this week. Of course.
Mr. Wonderful.
Some good fights.
Well, yeah, I'm sure we'll be doing something on the weekend then for all these events. But otherwise, yeah, I'll be here on Thursday, I think, maybe with Chris. I'll have to check with him. Doing something. So check back. Otherwise, thanks everyone for watching and commenting. If you haven't, please give us a like and a subscribe right below here. It helps us a lot. But yes, we'll see you all next time. Thank you very much.